Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Medical Talk. Today we have a very special guest with us who is our senior from Dow, who is a graduate from Dow, Dr. Gulrayz Ahmed. I'm sure that most of the IMGs have heard of him, know him because he is very active on Apna YPC. He's very helpful. He goes out of his way to help people. We are all very grateful to him, and I'm very honored to have Dr. Gulrayz Ahmed over here. He's also the founding member of SOCH, which is a very important NGO working at Civil Hospital Karachi and in Dow. And I'm so honored to have him here today with us.
Thank you for having me here. It's always a pleasure to talk to the young ones and stay in kind of like touch with them to know what the realities is and how we can continue to serve them and support them through their careers.
Yes. Thank you so much. So, Dr. Ahmed, we usually start off with what your early journey was like, how you moved to the US, what inspired you to pursue medicine in the beginning, and what were some of the challenges you faced along the way?
I come from a very typical Brown family. I was raised in Qatar. Then I moved back to Pakistan, did my elementary school at BVS. After that, I did my secondary school, which is like our inter at Aga Khan. And Then I went on to Dow. Reason I chose medicine was we are four brothers. Two of my elder brothers were engineers, so I was not left with that many options. Either I could be a doctor or a doctor or a doctor. So I didn't have that many options. And apparently my drawing was better, so that's why I was put into biology early up. Because you really need those diagrams to
Yeah.
pass your ninth, 10th, and your inter exams. So that's what my aspiration was sort of to come to medicine is like it was just my parents' wishes at the end of the day. I
Mm.
was really not picky about which field I want to pursue. Then I came to Dow. I started in 2008, graduated in 2014. Um, really enjoyed my time over there. Had so much fun. We started SOCH. We started Dow 14 Premier League. Played soccer. Um, Spent as much time as we can. Such quality time with my classmates. And they supported me all through these initiatives that we brought in through those 5 years. And then why did I end up in US or how did I end up in US is also kind of like not a very interesting story. Um, Even though the trend for USMLE is much, much, much more prevailing right now, it wasn't um, that famous or that much discussed at that point. This is somewhere in 2013, 2014. There were literally like four classmates of mine who were preparing it in fourth year. They took it in fifth year and went on to match during the house job time. And at that point, looks like a lot of people wanted to join that bandwagon. And I just played along with my peers, and there were a lot of peers who were preparing for it. So I was like, maybe I can give it a shot as well. I did not, I had no aspirations of coming to US. Um, because of the social initiatives that were running back home, I was like, I should just stay back home and do FCPS and do my career building over there. But then I was like, maybe why shouldn't I take a shot at it? And literally, there was no plan to it. I took my step one in house job, and then I took my step to CK right after my house job. Did my CS in July, right before the match, and went into the match literally within 2 years after graduation, which I think helped me a lot.
Yeah.
US, I did my residency at Mount Auburn, which is a Harvard affiliated hospital in Boston. Then I moved to Medical College of Wisconsin, and I've been here for the last 5 years, and I'm about to graduate from my fellowship in the next 8 months, and will be functioning as a hematologist, bone marrow transplant physician, hopefully, depending upon where I end up working.
That's amazing. Soch has been doing an amazing job right now with a lot of initiatives in civil hospital, from cleaning wards to installing ACs, building HDUs, making like roadmaps, everything. It's amazing the kind of efforts that Soch has been putting in, and it's amazing. You have helped a lot of people, and a lot of IMGs contact you. So, what are some of the common problems that IMGs face and mistakes that they make while applying for the match that you would like to highlight over here?
जो सबसे बड़ी mistake that people end up doing is, पास plan upfront नहीं होता, जब आपके पास road map नहीं होता, then sticking to a deadline becomes very difficult. Sticking to a timeline becomes really difficult. Some people start late, that's fine. लेकिन ये कि अगर आपने late start कर लिया है, then you really need to catch up. You cannot sit on doing your steps for 2 years and then expect कि भाई program जब आपकी application review कर रहा है, आप कहें कि ओ मैं तो 2 साल steps की preparation की. That's not appropriate. Like once you jump into the process, you really need to get into the process and make sure that you can complete it within a very reasonable time. I know life happens, especially with a lot of females. They get married, they have kids. That is fine. As long as there is a life-changing event that's happening, it is justifiable. And till date, we know a lot of people who have matched even with YOGs greater than 10 years. It happens, but of course, it becomes more difficult as compared to somebody who's less than 2 years. तो अगर आपकी एस्पिरेशन है, अगर आपकी है एपेटाइट कि भाई मुझे यूएसएमएलई करना है, आई नीड टू मूव फॉरवर्ड, I need to come to US, then I would start working on it early. Start picking it up in third year, fourth year, and see if you can take the steps down or step one at least early, so that you know where you stand. कभी कभार होता है कि some people fail, they struggle with the exams and stuff. So this gives you enough time to start focusing on alternate options as well going forward. लेकिन ये कि अगर आप dead set हैं, things are looking okay, you can just proceed with it. पर मेरी most of the time लोगों को यही recommendation होती है कि don't waste time. If you have decided to take a route, stick with it, take it, and take it with full dedication so that you can get done with it in a reasonable time and go forward from there.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's so many factors that play into matching, like research, electives, steps, your score, and then your year of graduation. A lot of people have this question that what is the role of research? Because I have talked to a few people on this podcast as well. They say that they matched with 2 papers because a lot of people have a lot of publications, like 50 publications, 60 publications, and some have like 3, 4. What is the difference and how does it impact your application?
I do want to, like, I feel like 50-40 coming from a med student is a lot.
Yeah.
हम लोग जो सिस्टम से आते हैं, हम लोग ग्रेजुएट एजुकेशन नहीं करते हैं, हमारी बैचलर्स नहीं होती हैं. अमेरिका में पीपल डू बैचलर्स फॉर 3 years बिफोर दे गो इनटू मेड स्कूल, so they have a little bit more exposure to sciences and research background. So they having 4, 5, 6 publication makes sense कि उन्होंने 3 साल बीच में एक्स्ट्रा लगाए थे for their education. Because यहाँ पे रिसर्च के बगैर आप ग्रेजुएट नहीं कर सकते. You have to present a thesis, you have to present papers before you graduate. It's part of the graduation process. अब आता है पाकिस्तान के अंदर. पाकिस्तान में पहली बात, हमारी ग्रेजुएट को एजुकेशन मतलब प्री मेड की जरूरत नहीं होती अंदर. अब 5 साल के अंदर एक स्टूडेंट जो फॉर्मली ग्रेजुएट एजुकेशन या कॉलेज लेवल एजुकेशन को फर्स्ट टाइम, बाय कॉलेज आई मीन इज यूनिवर्सिटी लेवल, बिकॉज इन कॉलेज यूएस में कॉलेज टर्म इज फॉर anything beyond your initial education, which goes up to like 12th grade and stuff, high school. तो ये कि अब आप एक्सपेक्ट नहीं करते कि एक बंदा जो कि पहली दफा साइंसेस को इतना एक्सप्लोर कर रहा है, ह्यूमन साइंसेस को, एंड दे विल बी हैविंग 50 पब्लिकेशंस कमिंग आउट ऑफ इट. एंड आई थिंक इट लुक्स नेगेटिवली ऑन यू एज वेल टू अ सर्टेन एक्सटेंट कि भाई आप बहुत ओवर अचीवर तो नहीं हो गए. आप कहीं क्या पता हमारे प्रोग्राम में फिट ही नहीं हो पाओ, क्योंकि मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम वी गेट इंटरव्यू फ्रॉम कम्युनिटी प्रोग्राम्स. दैट्स वेयर मोस्ट ऑफ द IMGs end up matching. And to a certain extent, it can be negatively looked upon, even though most of the time people end up matching. But still, there is this hacha, or there is this fear, can it be negatively looked upon? The magic number that I give people is usually around 3 to 5 papers. That's more than enough. Nobody's expecting that you're Einstein, you will have 50 papers or 60 papers done in your 5 years of medical education. Meta-analyses are good, really good exposure, can help you beef up your CV really fast. But try to do some original work as well and see if you can get some letter to editors, or you can publish some case reports. Meta-analyses are highest level of literature, but they're essentially not your original work. There's somebody else's work that you're pulling the data together and publishing it.
Yeah.
काम कर सकते हैं. There are some faculties even in civil hospital who like to do some work. You can always find interesting cases in Pakistan that you can write up upon. You can write letter to editors. मैंने और मेरे classmates ने letter to editors बहुत सारा, मतलब if you look at my research profile, I have a letter to editor on overdose of dextromethorphan in Gujranwala. So there were like 30 odd people who died from overdosing of dextromethorphan, the cough syrup. And I wrote about it. And I'm like, when would we put it behind the counter? We need to hold these things, sodas, like how they affect obesity and childhood obesity. The letter to editor again, public health में marital disharmony in the role of doctors. कि भाई हम marital disharmony में क्या role play कर सकते हैं as physicians. We wrote role of child psychiatry in Pakistan. So there are so many burning topics that you can focus on and write letter to editors, which just needs like 5 to 6 references and a little bit of literature review, and you can share your opinion in it. And JPMA accepts it. I think they still have a fee, but there are a lot of free journals who will accept it as well. So I usually recommend 3 to 5, but you will see people at all spectrum matching. There will be people who have no research. There will be people who have 50 papers. Then there will be somebody in between. I feel 3 to 5 is more than enough. If you have more, you're excellent. If you have less, don't fuss about it. If you have something in the pipeline, try to get them out before the deadline.
That makes sense. And apart from research, one of the other things that we really worry about is US clinical experience. So, what is your advice regarding that? What do you think is the best way to find a clinical elective for medical students?
Electives are tough. Unfortunately, they have been always tough. It's not that this is a new case. When I was in the match process, there was no VSLO. And हमने जो है वो मैंने वेस्ट वर्जीनिया यूनिवर्सिटी में किया था मॉर्गन टाउन में. And we sent an email to the coordinator. She accepted, but you still needed an accepting faculty. So I had to backtrack, look for a faculty, found my long-term mentor, Dr. Hamadani, who connected me to somebody else. Best option is VCLO. Go through Dow. Dow has affiliation with UIC. I know it's expensive, but it's a sure shot. उसके बाद फिर बेस्ट हॉस्पिटल के साथ उनकी एफिलिएशन है. यूटिलाइज दैट राउट. And surprisingly, even though they use GPA as a marker to rank people, but not all the spots go, because not everyone can pay $2,000, $2,500 fee to go to UIC. And there I have seen people who got lucky and they got the elective spot and they went to UIC. UIC का जो elective है, that is not core internal medicine. आप जब medical student होते हो, you yourself are exploring multiple fields. आपने मेडिकल स्कूल के अंदर 5 साल IM नहीं किए. आपने हर फील्ड की है because that's the core of going through med school. So whatever rotation you find, just take it and see if you can build some links or network inside to get other rotations while you're there. Florida International University gives you an elective for a decent amount. There are a lot more options that are available. But unfortunately, it's a lot of work that goes into it. And for me to remember every other institute, it's nearly impossible because this changes every few months. What I recommend to people is talk to your immediate seniors who are either in match or who just match. They will be able to give you a very updated list. Some people do fall for those paid companies who say that we will be giving you an elective. Usually it's in a clinic or in a very small hospital that is not even affiliated with any place. I don't like those places because they charge you a lot of money for a very subpar experience. क्योंकि अगर faculty is not a teaching faculty, they don't participate in teaching regularly. They're just sponsoring a spot for the sake of making some money. वो आपके लिए फिर कोई educational experience होगा नहीं. If you don't get elective, it's fine. People apply with observerships as well, and they do as well as people who did electives. Electives वाले, unfortunately, like now what's happening is there are a lot of people who are applying in their 5th year. अब वो observerships के लिए जा ही नहीं सकते. उनको embassy usually strike down कर देती है. They नहीं, you will need elective. You cannot go for an observership. तो ये कि उनके लिए electives are essential if you're applying really early. But if you're not applying that early, you have time, you're doing your house job, you'll be applying after your house job. Then maybe just do observerships अगर electives का नहीं बना सीन तो. लेकिन ये है कि electives is an active process. I would exhaust DAO as an option. I would exhaust VSLO as an option before I start looking in the wider market. There are a lot of options like Boston University does it, Harvard University does it, but they charge you a lot of money for those experiences. So I don't know if they're worth it that much. John Hopkins gives you a research elective. I think Yale has a program as well. Mount Sinai, Stony Brook, all of these programs have a dedicated elective program. but they're super expensive. Like Harvard charges you $6,000 when I last checked for a month. $6,000, you can probably fund half of your USMLE journey doing that. So you need to assess your situation and then go from there. Another thing before I forget is like, do assess your financial situation as well going into steps. This is very important. You cannot rely on others to fund your process. Because Dogana gives out 7 to 8 loans each year. पर Dogana cannot guarantee कि हर बच्चे को लोन मिले. Does not have any responsibility to do it in the first place. They do it out of their kind heart, right? Sponsoring a student who might match or who might not match is essentially giving charity of $2,000, $3,000 to somebody and expecting nothing in return. And unfortunately, people who end up matching don't even pay back. That's the hard part about the whole process, which is eye-opening. But still, लेकिन ये कि make sure that you have your finances lined up. क्योंकि अगर आपके पास पैसे नहीं है, midway you lose steam, then you lost all that money that you had put into the process before. So don't expect somebody to fund your dream. I tell people your dream should be medicine. Dream should not be US. आप मेडिसिन यूएस यूके जाके भी कर सकते हैं, आप मेडिसिन मिडिल ईस्ट जाके भी कर सकते हैं, आप मेडिसिन पाकिस्तान में भी कर सकते हैं. I have so many of my classmates who are successful physicians back home in Pakistan right now. I know it's difficult, quality of life is way inferior in Pakistan right now, but if your goal is medicine, then that should remain the same across, whether you are in US, UK, Australia, Scotland, Ireland, or Pakistan.
A lot of people have this question that what if you have a family member who is in the US can get you an elective at a clinic? You've exhausted all your options, you're not finding a university elective. So do you think that it's better to go for a clinic elective rather than just staying back and not doing an elective?
Anything is better than nothing. So if you don't run into financial toxicity with taking this trip to US and staying and getting a letter, I think you will be fine. One downside that I would like to point out is that electives in clinic, usually not affiliated with a university program, embassy does create some problems with it. They go like, okay, get me a letter that is affiliated with the university because elective needs to be at a teaching hospital, visa, and this is the only opportunity you're getting. Or even if you require visa, you try your luck, you get your visa. Go for it. I don't see a downside to it. Any elective is better than nothing.
A lot of people say that you need to have a lot of connections and your network needs to be very wide if you're applying for the match because it will help you. This is something that worries a lot of people that we don't have a very big network. Do you think that it is absolutely necessary?
This is something that is not taught to us well during our educational experiences. Dow does not teach you what networking is. And you will always see that smart people succeed because they know somebody where at the right time, at the right place to get them through. And I shared my example, like I reached out to my long-term mentor, like that was my first time contact for elective Dr. Hamadani. And he helped me connect. And he's currently like we are in the same division. Like he has helped me all through these years. At this point, it's 12 years. 12 years. And he wrote my LOR for my my residency application. He supported me during my time for fellowship. I have published because of him. I have won awards because of him. So it's like this is something that we all need to learn. Like you need to first find maybe a mentor who can support you all through this journey. Of course, Gulrayz bhai cannot be mentor for everybody. You need to be a little diverse with your approach. See if somebody who shares same beliefs, same educational background as you, and then use them as a leverage to talk to other people. If Anusha reach out to people, it's possible that her message will go to their other inbox and like other inbox and nobody will pay attention to. But when you go through Gulrayz Bhai might be a common friend and he might get the message through and help you connect with somebody. So this is what networking is. This is how the world actually rules because we are growing. There are so many of us right now, and there are very few people who actually like to help.
Yeah.
And some people do want to help, but they just are not paying attention to the social media to support people. Like they have their own system. Like there are people who just don't pay attention to their inbox. Like they don't like to check their other inbox at all. They live in their own style. That doesn't mean that they don't want to help. It's just that you just can't reach out to them. अब आपको ये है कि networking करनी होती है. And networking is like reaching out to a common friend, see like if they can reach out to that person and see if they can help you out. As for the whole theory of contacts and networking, बड़ा नेगेटिव कॉन्टेशन के साथ जिक्र किया जाता है आजकल कॉन्टैक्ट्स का कि भाई देयर आर नो इंटरव्यूज दैट कम आउट विदाउट कॉन्टैक्ट्स. Some people who have relatives in the program, there might be some people who have family members in the program, their siblings or somebody who can pull out an interview. I went in, I had zero rishtedar in US. Like there was this one distant uncle who has been super supportive, but he's so distant that I have no idea how I'm even related to him. Um, for somebody who has no family in US, I'm sitting here as somebody who matched. My, my scores were mediocre. I was 230s. And I matched. Like, what do you think was different in my application? What contacts did I have? So my contact was that I did reach out to multiple Dow people on Facebook and saw that if they can help me recommend. I was not pushy about it. I would write a professional message and be like, bhai, if you can help me, or Dr. XYZ, if you can help me, that will be appreciated. Some people respond, some people don't. Some people say, like, I have exhausted all the recommendations that I had and I'm done. You thank them, you move on. Nobody owes you anything in this part.
Yeah.
If somebody is doing good work, they're doing it out of their good heart. They don't owe you anything at the end of the day. You reach out to people, see if you can get a word through and see if they can recommend you. And that's how people network, how they build contacts, connections. Yes, some people are lucky who have family members in the system. That is usually the biggest link. But secondary is usually through social media. Third thing is our DAO community is huge. We have had the most number of ECFMG certified physicians in the US for the last like many years at this point. Finally, people from Caribbeans are catching up on us, but Dow Medical is listed as one of the top 3 ECFMG certified schools in US right now. So there are a lot of us. Unfortunately, most of us ended up in private practice because that's how our aptitude was. Like Dow doesn't make you an academician. So that's why most of us end up in private practice. But things are changing, tides are changing. And hopefully we can be more robust of an academic alumni and support candidates going forward from here onwards. Another thing that I want to point out is देखो system जो होता है वो specific country के लिए बनता है, foreigners के लिए नहीं बनता. अगर आप पाकिस्तान में हो और पाकिस्तान में ही आपको जॉब ना मिले और कोई बाहर मुल्क का बंदा आके आपकी जॉब ले ले तो ये आपके साथ ज्यादती हो. तो एएमजीज को तो आप रिप्लेस नहीं कर सकते. यूएस आईएमजीज को आप टू अ सर्टेन एक्सटेंट रिप्लेस नहीं कर सकते क्योंकि उनकी गवर्नमेंट ऑफ यूएस की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है टू सपोर्ट देम to make sure that they pay off their loans, they sustain, they live, they are successful. So the realities that you have to live with. Yet, US remains open. It is the most open market right now with respect to taking foreign graduates into the system and supporting them and letting them grow in the system. That's the most phenomenal thing about US is like you can if you once you match you can grow like anybody else in the system right now, like an AMG, like an US IMG. There will be no difference between you. Yes, your visa will cause problems down the line, but you will still grow the same way as like anybody else. So in short, I say build connections. It always helps. This is part of networking. This is part of your social emotional quotient. Like it's part of your EQ, and everybody should look into it. They should build their social media profile. They should be on professional networks like LinkedIn, Twitter, or Facebook, and maintain a professional decorum on it and try to see if they can reach out to seniors, build some networking around them. But thing is, don't expect too much. Not everybody can do anything. I can give you my example. Like I try to recommend people for fellowship each year because I'm in fellowship right now. But it's not necessary that everyone will get an interview. And these are for candidates who are already in US. It's like they're already here. So everyone doesn't have the same say or pull at the end of the day. So don't hold a grudge against them because हर किसी की एक तो पहली बात किसी की responsibility नहीं है. And then whatever they're doing is they're doing out of their kindness. I usually try to give my own example. I think I reached out to a couple seniors and they said we will recommend your ID. Um, I don't think I got interviews from any of those programs. Like
Mm.
I did not. And most of the interviews that I ended up getting were organic.
Yeah.
और आई थिंक मेरे टोटल 8 इंटरव्यूज थे, 8 में से 4, 3 वर ऑर्गेनिक, 5 वर either through email that I sent to the program or phone calls to the program. That's why I'm a huge proponent of making phone calls and emails. You don't need to shy away. Do it because it really helps. I have seen so many success stories. I'm a success story to it. The program that I matched into was I got the interview over the phone. My program coordinator picked up my phone on 30th of December, and she extended me an interview over the phone, and that's where I ended up matching.
That's so cool. I feel like there's a lot of, as you mentioned, negative connotation towards the fact that you have to build a network and contacts and all of these things, that people who have family in the US are at an advantage. But it's very natural because this is how it is in every other field as well. If someone has
100%.
their father working in a company, they will vouch for them. But I feel like if you're working hard and you're putting in all of your efforts and you're trying your best, then Allah Ta'ala will make pathways for you. And it happens. You see it with all of our seniors.
I agree. There is no substitute to hard work. There is no substitute to persistence. As long as you have your mind straight to the goal and
Mm.
you have your uh, ducks in order. If it doesn't fall into your pocket this year, it might fall into your pocket over the next few years. But stay persistent, continue to work. Again, your goal should be medicine wherever you are. Keep trying at alternate options, but remain steadfast.
There's a lot of stress around interviews, and once you get the interview, there's the stress of what will happen in the interview. So what are your thoughts on that?
So interviews are hybrid now, technically. Like most of the programs are doing them virtually, some are doing in person as well. What I recommend is interviews are make and break.
Hmm.
इंटरव्यू जो प्रोसेस है वो स्टेम करता है फ्रॉम द फैक्ट दैट दे लाइक योर सीवी, द प्रोग्राम लाइक योर सीवी, द प्रोग्राम डायरेक्टर लाइक योर सीवी, द लीडरशिप लाइक योर सीवी, एंड नाउ दे वांट टू अफर्म जो बंदा हमें सीवी पे पसंद आया क्या वो एक्चुअली वही बंदा है जो कि इन पर्सन भी सेम लगता है नहीं लगता, क्योंकि पेपर में किसी को देखना बहुत डिफरेंट है एज कम्पेयर टू सीइंग देम इन पर्सन.
Hmm.
आपकी सीवी आपको टोटली रिफ्लेक्ट करती है, देन यू जस्ट नीड टू गो विद योर नेचुरल फ्लो एंड सी हाउ द डे गोज. Important is stable internet connection, जो कि पाकिस्तान में बहुत बड़ा इशू है.
Hmm.
Having a good camera, good lighting, good background, and then dressing up professionally. Some people take these things so casually, so lightly that they forget like these are very important, and then they run into last minute issues. Dress up formally, put up a coat, put up a suit, put up a tie. Girls usually put up a coat as well. No tie for them, but dress up professionally. That's very important for the interview. Baki, most of the time, the programs are not looking to assess your clinical knowledge. They are actually trying to assess who you are as a person. Clinical knowledge के लिए तो उन्होंने they already saw your step 2 CK score. They already saw your step 1 pass fail result. They already saw your step 3 result or their OET results or their MSPE with their school preparation and school performance. तो बात ये कि now they want to see who this person is as an actual person. Are
Hmm.
they collaborative? Are they team worker? Are they flexible? Are they confident? Can they speak English? Can they build a rapport with the patient? Can they be put on a track of success? तो
Hmm.
अब ये सब चीजें उनको वेरीफाई करनी होती हैं through that interview process, which is very casual sort of an interview where they want to know, tell me about yourself, tell me about your future aspirations, tell me about where do you see yourself, and like things like these, like strengths, weaknesses, difficult case, interesting case, very generic sort. मतलब इस इंटरव्यू प्रोसेस में कोई 30 मार खान वाली बात नहीं होती, बहुत स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड सा प्रोसेस होता है और वेरी सिमिलर होते हैं. And some people who end up getting like 5, 6, 7, 8 interviews, they go like there is a lot of repetition in the whole process because they're not trying to assess your clinical knowledge. They're trying to actually see who you are as a person, and these questions help you get a good grasp of what you are as a human being. क्योंकि यूएस सिस्टम इज वेरी पेशेंट सेंटर्ड.
Hmm.
वहां पे यहाँ पर बॉसिंग नहीं होती कि भाई नहीं दिस इज व्हाट यू विल डू.
Hmm.
दिस इज देयर इज नो superiority of a doctor at the end of the day. It's a repo building process. It's a shared decision making process. तो उस चीज के लिए इम्पोर्टेंट है कि यू शो फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी, यू शो that you are trainable, you show that you're kind of like a team person who works in a team. And that's what leads to a successful interview at the end of the day, I feel. कभी कभार होता है कि यू लाई फॉर मसलियत, राइट, कि आपने सिचुएशन के लिए झूठ बोल दिया उस वक्त, लेकिन ये है कि when you lie, your body language, your tone does not usually end up supporting what you're trying to say,
Hmm.
and that gives strong point against you. जो
Hmm.
आपके सामने बैठा है ना, वो बंदा पिछले 15 साल, 20 साल, 5 साल, 8 साल, this is their job, this is year in year out, this is what they have been doing, and they can pick these things up really easily.
Hmm.
अगर आपने कुछ डाला है, बिकॉज लॉट ऑफ पीपल एक्चुअली लाई ऑन देयर सीवीज के हम पीडब्ल्यू के प्रेसिडेंट थे, हम सोच के प्रेसिडेंट थे, बिकॉज कोई चेक इन बैलेंस तो होता नहीं एट द एंड ऑफ द डे, नोबडी इज गोइंग टू रीच आउट. बट जो ऑथेंटिक पोस्ट होल्डर्स होते हैं, जिन्होंने जेन्युइनली काम किया होता है, इट एक्चुअली रिफ्लेक्ट्स इन देयर पर्सनालिटीज.
Yeah.
जब वो बात करते हैं, दे हैव दैट जेन्युइन स्पार्क इन देम कि भाई मैं इतना पैशनेट था, मैंने ये काम किया है. एंड दैट पैशन कैन नॉट बी रेप्लिकेटेड इन समबडी who has actually not done that stuff.
Hmm.
तो ये चीजें पकड़ना मुश्किल नहीं होती. इंटरव्यूज आर वेरी सीजन, दे कैन पिक दोस थिंग्स अप. सो लाई विद इन द मीन्स दैट यू कैन जस्टिफाई. लेकिन ये कि don't try to be over smart. The person sitting in front of you is not dumb. They will pick these things up and will look negatively on you.
Do you have any general advice for people who are watching this podcast and are on the pathway to applying to the US?
Yeah, but like they can be literally anything from like uh, getting electives to when to take their steps and how to prepare for their steps, or failing their steps, or being stuck in US, so and so on and so forth. तो क्वेश्चन तो बहुत जनरल होते हैं, लेकिन ये कि मैं एक बात जो बहुत I feel really passionate about is like people have shifted their mind to the fact that their dream is US.
Hmm.
Their dream is not to be in medicine in the field that is healing, that is supporting the most vulnerable of the population. उनका dream US है.
Hmm.
They make post के I always had a dream to go to US. आई डोंट नो. फिर आप राइट फिट हैं फॉर द सिस्टम अगर आपका ड्रीम यूएस था, rather than practicing medicine, being that healer, being that physician that supports his patients or her patients, and brings them out of their misery, or protects, like supports them during their most vulnerable time. मुझे नहीं अच्छी लगती when people go like my dream is US, please support me for my dream. I cannot support you for your dream if your dream is US. मैं कोई प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स थोड़ी हूँ जो आपकी इमिग्रेशन कराएगा. मैं नहीं हूँ, मेरे पास अथॉरिटी नहीं है. I can support you to be a strong candidate to get into the match process, but I cannot support you for being in US.
Hmm.
तो मुझे लगता है कि people need to revisit this as a goal. कि देखें आप, it shouldn't matter where you are. It
Hmm.
should matter what you do, and when you do it, you generally feel happy about it. You feel accomplished about it. You have that sense of belonging that when I get home, I will have good rest. And when I come back to work, I will be happy about coming to work. It's not easy, but that's how life should be. वरना बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता है. We are
Hmm.
seeing so many cases of suicide, so many cases of dropping outs and self-harm and all those depression. It's so common in the medical fraternity right now, just because I feel like some of us are not content with what we are doing.
Hmm.
And if you're not content with what you, these things will follow, because अगर आपकी mental health order में नहीं है, so then your physical health will not be in order either. Then you will run into these medical problems as we go. तो मुझे लगता है कि we need to at times revisit our goal and focus on the fact कि भाई हम मेडिसिन में आए थे for medicine. मैं अब यूएस जाऊंगा इंशाल्लाह. If US doesn't work out, I will stay in Pakistan. If Pakistan doesn't work out, I will go to UK. मैं कहीं और चला जाऊंगा. मैं पाकिस्तान में एफसीपीएस करके फेलोशिप करने यूएस आ जाऊंगा. तो देयर आर वेज टू गो अराउंड थिंग्स. लेकिन ये कि आपको अपना गोल जो है, वो एक तो पहली बात, गोल सेट करना इज नॉट रॉन्ग, पर उसको ड्रीम बना लेना कि मेरे पास और कोई ऑप्शन ही नहीं है इज रॉन्ग. कर ली आपने, हाउस जॉब नहीं
Hmm.
की, अब मेजर रेड फ्लैग हो गया कि आप घर पे बैठे में कोई काम नहीं कर रहे. आपने हाउस जॉब कर ली, यू आर स्टिल ट्राइंग टू स्टडी, गेट डन योर एग्जाम्स, व्हिच इज फाइन. नॉट एवरीबॉडी कैन get done with their exams right away. Some people require their sweet time to study. आप जॉब कर रहे हैं नहीं कर रहे, नाइट शिफ्ट्स कर लें कहीं, ऑल्टरनेट डेज नाइट्स होती हैं, आप नाइट्स चिल होती हैं, आप अपना बैठ के पढ़ें ड्यूरिंग दैट नाइट टाइम, पेशेंट आए पेशेंट देखें, लेकिन ट्राई टू डू समथिंग ड्यूरिंग दैट टाइम। माशाल्लाह नाउ किड्स आर सो स्मार्ट, दे आर डूइंग स्क्राइब जॉब, जो
हम्म।
वो पाकिस्तान में बैठे हुए होते हैं, इट्स यूजुअली अ नाइट जॉब, but they're making dollars to support themselves, and they're mashallah excelling as well. तो ये जस्टिफिकेशन देना कि जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटीज नहीं है और बहाने ढूंढना, आई रियली डोंट लाइक देम एट ऑल. सो आई डू फील लाइक दीज आर द थिंग्स दैट somebody needs to reconsider before they expect help from others. उसके अलावा the usual stuff like being hard working, क्योंकि I feel hard work का कोई मुतबादिल नहीं है. The amount of work you put in, Allah, God gives you all the result, if not today, later tomorrow, but it will come to you, क्योंकि इसका कोई alternate नहीं.
हम्म।
And I do believe in spirituality. I do believe that one should make prayers and like support themselves, because spiritual health helps you with your mental health as well. So
हम्म।
mental health as well. So it's important to keep yourself in order, to kind of like support you through this very, 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 very anxiety prone, very difficult processes.
It becomes a life and death situation for some people, and then it impacts you so badly. I feel like anything that becomes a life and death situation for you is not good for you, because वो आपकी पूरी जिंदगी का मकसद बन जाती है. Do you want to do medicine or do you want to go to the US? Because US जाके भी आप मेडिसिन में भी कभी खुश नहीं रहेंगे अगर आपको actually like if that's not what you're
नहीं
passionate
लेंगे.
about.
एंड आई थिंक एक भेड़ चाल भी चल रही है कि भाई, देयर इज अ बस दैट लीव्स एट द सेम टाइम एंड will drop you off at the same time. No, that's not the case with human beings. हर किसी की अपनी क्लॉक होती है, हर किसी का अपना टाइम होता है, हर किसी का अपना अटेंशन स्पैन होता है, लर्निंग कैपेबिलिटीज होती हैं. कोई बच्चा जो कि फोर्थ ईयर में स्टेप 1 दे रहा है, आपने जरूरी नहीं है कि आप स्टेप 1 फोर्थ ईयर में दें अगर आपके पास मेंटल कैपेबिलिटी नहीं है. If you're somebody who is from a mid-tier academic background, who has done just enough all through their life to get through their exams and be at a good place, आप अपने आप को मेरिट 1 या मेरिट 2 से कंपेयर नहीं कर सकते, क्योंकि दोज आर स्मार्ट पीपल, दे वर born with that smartness. तो
Hmm.
ये कि everyone has their own time, and I just feel like you just need to go with it and at times see what your fate brings you to. लेकिन अगेन, आप ये नहीं एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते कि अल्लाह ताला आपके घर में आके आपकी प्लेट में खाना रख के चला जाएगा. आपको मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी, आपको बाहर निकलना पड़ेगा, आपको काम करना पड़ेगा, आपको सीवी बिल्ड करनी पड़ेगी, आपको नेटवर्किंग करनी पड़ेगी. I know so many kids who reached out to me कि Gulrayz भाई, my step to CK score is low, अब मेरा मुझे लग रहा करियर एंड हो गया, and now they're doing some research positions, building their CVs and will be applying for match, and I will be surprised if they don't go successful. There are alternates to every approach, लेकिन ये है कि आपको वो सीक आउट करनी पड़ेगी, और कोई आपको प्लेट में रख के नहीं देगा वो चीजें, आपको खुद मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी. We can guide you, we can support you as much as we can, lekin I don't sit on a research pot where I can give out 100 topics to all the individuals who are reaching out to me. I don't sit on research positions that I can give to everybody. These are unique offices, these unique positions that open up here and there in big centers, and you just need to try your luck and see if you'll get into them.
Thank you so much for coming. It was so nice talking to you. I've heard so much about you at Dow because you have done so many great things and then you help so many people. And thank you for coming on the podcast, sharing your insights, sharing your advice. It was really nice talking to you and it was an honor.
Thank you, Nisha. I wish you best of luck. More than happy to talk to you again in the future if need arises.